The Galactic Council chamber was silent. Ambassador Kira Chen stood at the central podium and looked at the faces of 12 different species. Some had scales, some had fur, some had skin that changed color with their moods. All of them looked at her with the same expression: fear. "You want us to believe," said High Counselor Vexnar, his 4 eyes blinking one after another, "that your species conquered 3 star systems in less than 50 years without a single war." Kira smiled. It was a gentle smile, the kind humans used when they were about to explain something that seemed obvious to them. "We did not conquer anything," she said. "We made friends." A low rumble of laughter came from the Kreth delegation. The Kreth were large beings covered in thick armor plates. They had built their empire the old way, through blood and fire. Their leader, General Thorn, leaned forward in his seat. "Friends," he repeated, "you expect us to believe that you built an empire through friendship. The universe does not work that way, human. Empires are built on strength, on fear, on the willingness to destroy anyone who stands in your way." Kira turned to face him directly. She was small compared to Thorn. Her head barely reached his shoulder, but she did not seem afraid. "Your empire has existed for 3,000 years, she said. "How many rebellions have you faced in that time?" Thorn's eyes narrowed. "That is not relevant." "It is very relevant. Your empire spends 60% of its resources maintaining control over species that hate you. You have to keep them weak and afraid because the moment they are strong enough, they will try to destroy you. That is the cost of building through conquest." "And what is the cost of your method?" asked Counselor Vexnar. His voice was curious now, not hostile. "Time," Kira said. "Patience, understanding, the willingness to learn about other species and find what we have in common instead of what makes us different." She pressed a button on her podium, and a holographic display appeared above the chamber. It showed a small blue planet orbiting a yellow star. "This is Earth," she said. 200 years ago, we had not even left our own world. We were divided into hundreds of nations that fought each other constantly. We had wars over land, over resources, over ideas. We came close to destroying ourselves many times." The display changed to show humans standing on the surface of a red planet. "Then we went to Mars. For the first time in our history, we worked together on something bigger than ourselves. It changed us. We realized that the universe was vast and full of wonders, and that we would need each other to explore it." "A touching story," Thorn said, "but it does not explain how you expanded so quickly. The Velari system alone has 3 habitable worlds. Their people are strong warriors. How did you take it without war?" "We did not take it," Kira said. "We were invited." She changed the display again. Now it showed a being that looked like a cross between a wolf and a deer. It had silver fur and large golden eyes. "This is Ambassador Rilka of the Velari. She is one of my closest friends. When we first made contact with her people, they were dying." The image changed to show a planet covered in brown and gray. Dead forests stretched across entire continents. Rivers had dried to dusty channels. Their sun was changing. It was producing more radiation than before. Their crops were failing. Their children were being born sick. They had maybe 50 years before their species would be extinct. "Why did you help them?" asked Counselor Vexnar. "They had nothing to offer you. They were dying. Most species would have simply waited for them to disappear and then claimed their worlds." Kira looked at him with something like sadness in her eyes. "Because they were people," she said simply. "They had children who laughed and played. They had artists who painted beautiful pictures. They had scientists who dreamed of the stars. They were people and they were suffering and we could help. That was enough." "So you saved them out of kindness," Thorn said. His voice was mocking. "And in return they gave you their planets." "In return they asked us to stay," Kira corrected. "They saw how we lived. They saw that we did not take what we wanted by force. They saw that we treated each other with respect, even when we disagreed, and they wanted to be part of that. She pressed another button, and the display showed a beautiful city. Human buildings stood next to Velari structures. Human children played with Velari children in parks filled with flowers from both worlds. This is the city of new harmony on Velari Prime. Humans and Velari live there together. They learn from each other. They help each other. They are not conquered people serving their masters. They are partners. Partners, repeated Counselor Vexnar thoughtfully. An interesting concept. It is a foolish concept, Thorn said. What happens when your partners decide they no longer wish to be partners? What happens when they want something you have? Then we talk about it, Kira said. We negotiate, we compromise, we find a solution that works for everyone. And if you cannot find a solution, we keep talking until we do. Thorn stood up. He was massive, easily 3 times Kira's size. His armor plates clicked together as he moved. Your way is weakness, he said. The Kreth Empire has survived for 3,000 years because we are strong, because our enemies fear us. Your empire of friendship will collapse the moment it faces a real challenge. Kira did not step back. She looked up at him calmly. Perhaps, she said, or perhaps we will show the galaxy a different way, a better way. We shall see, Thorn said. He turned and walked out of the chamber, his delegation following behind him. Counselor Vexnar watched them go, then turned back to Kira. You have made a powerful enemy today, he said. The Kreth do not like being challenged. I did not challenge them, Kira said. I simply told them the truth. What they do with that truth is their choice. And what is the truth, Ambassador Chen? Kira smiled again. The truth is that the universe is big enough for everyone. We do not need to fight over it. We can share it. We can build something together that is greater than anything any of us could build alone. Vexnar was silent for a long moment. Then slowly he began to nod. I think, he said, that I would like to learn more about your way of building empires. I would be happy to teach you, Kira said. That is what friends are for. 3 months after the council meeting, a Kreth warship appeared above the human colony on Proxima 7. It was massive, nearly 2 kilometers long, covered in weapons that could destroy cities with a single shot. Captain David Park stood on the bridge of the colony's only defense ship and tried not to show his fear. They are charging weapons, reported his sensor officer, a young woman named Lieutenant Kim. Her voice shook slightly. Sir, we cannot fight that ship. We should evacuate. No, Park said. If we run, they will destroy the colony before anyone can escape. We need to buy time. He pressed a button on his chair. Open a channel to the Kreth ship. The view screen flickered and General Thorn's face appeared. He looked pleased with himself. Captain Park, Thorn said, I am glad you chose to face us. It would have been disappointing if you had run. General Thorn, this colony is protected by the Galactic Council's peace treaties. An attack on us would be an act of war. Thorn laughed. It was a harsh, grinding sound. The Council is far away, Captain. By the time they learn what happened here, your colony will be dust, and I will tell them that you attacked first, that we acted in self-defense. Why are you doing this? Park asked. We have never threatened the Kreth. We have never done anything to harm you. You threaten us by existing, Thorn said. Your way of building empires is dangerous. It makes others think there is a choice, that they do not have to fear the strong. That idea must be destroyed before it spreads. Park felt a cold anger rising in his chest. You are going to kill 50,000 people to destroy an idea. Ideas are more dangerous than weapons, Captain. Your Ambassador Chen taught me that. Thorn's face twisted into something like a smile. You have 5 minutes to say goodbye to your colony. The screen went dark. Park turned to his crew. They were young, most of them on their first assignment. They looked at him with eyes full of fear and trust. Sir, Lieutenant Kim said, there is an incoming message. It is on an encrypted channel. From who? I do not know. The encryption is not human. Park hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Put it through. A face appeared on the screen. It was Velari, with silver fur and golden eyes. Park recognized her from the news reports about Ambassador Chen's speech at the council. Captain Park, said Ambassador Rilke, do not worry, help is coming. Ambassador, with respect, your ships cannot match the Kreth. Even if you sent your entire fleet, it would not be enough. Rilke smiled. It was a warm, gentle smile that somehow made Park feel calmer. We are not coming alone, Captain. Look to your sensors. Park turned to Lieutenant Kim. She was staring at her console with wide eyes. Sir, she said, ships are jumping in, dozens of them, no, hundreds. Park looked at the main view screen. Space around the colony was filling with ships, Velari cruisers with their elegant curved hulls, Naxian freighters converted into warships, Tauran battleships bristling with weapons, ships from species Park had never even seen before, all jumping in and taking positions between the Kreth warship and the colony. What is happening? Park whispered. Rilke's voice came through the speakers again. Humanity saved my people, Captain. They asked for nothing in return. They did it because it was right. Now we are here to return the favor. More ships kept arriving. The Kreth warship was now surrounded by a fleet that outnumbered it 100 to 1. I am opening a channel to General Thorn, Rilke said. You should listen. The view screen split to show both Rilke and Thorn. The Kreth general no longer looked pleased. His 4 eyes were wide with something that might have been fear. General Thorn, Rilke said, I am Ambassador Rilke of the Velari Federation. Speaking on behalf of the Coalition of Free Species, I am ordering you to stand down and withdraw from this system immediately. Coalition, Thorn spat the word. There is no coalition. You are a collection of weak species pretending to be strong. We were weak, Rilke agreed. Alone, each of us was weak. But the humans taught us something important. Together, we are strong. Together, we are stronger than you. This is a bluff. You would not risk war with the Kreth Empire. Look at your sensors, General. Count the ships around you. Then tell me if you think we are bluffing. There was a long pause. On the view screen, Park could see Thorn receiving reports from his officers. The general's face grew darker with each report. You cannot protect them forever, Thorn finally said. Sooner or later you will make a mistake, and when you do, the Kreth will be there. Perhaps, Rilke said, but today is not that day. Leave now, General. Go back to your empire and tell your rulers what you saw here. Tell them that the age of conquering the weak is over. Thorn stared at her for a long moment. Then, without another word, the Kreth warship turned and jumped away. Park let out a breath he had not realized he was holding. Around him, his crew was cheering, hugging each other, some of them crying with relief. Ambassador Rilke, he said, I do not know how to thank you. You do not need to thank us, Captain. This is what friends do. But how did you know? How did you get here so quickly? Ambassador Chen warned us that this might happen. After the council meeting, she reached out to every species that had benefited from human friendship. She asked us to be ready, to watch for any sign that the Kreth might try something. She organized all of this. She asked for our help. We chose to give it. There is a difference. Rilke smiled again. Your ambassador is a wise woman, Captain. She understands that true strength does not come from weapons or ships. It comes from the bonds we build with each other. Park looked at the view screen, at the hundreds of ships that had come to protect his colony. Ships from dozens of different species, all united by their connection to humanity. I think I am beginning to understand, he said. Good, Rilke said. Now, I believe there are some people on your colony who would like to thank their protectors in person. I have always wanted to try human coffee. I hear it is excellent. Park laughed. It was the first time he had laughed in hours. I think we can arrange that, Ambassador. I think we can definitely arrange that. Ambassador Kira Chen sat in her office on Earth and read the report from Proxima 7. She smiled as she reached the end, but her smile faded when she saw the message that had arrived with the report. It was from General Thorne. Ambassador Chen, the message read, "You have won this battle, but you have not won the war. The Kreth Empire will not forget this humiliation. We will find a way to destroy your coalition. We will show the galaxy that your way leads only to weakness and death." Kira closed the message and stared out her window. Below her, the city of New Geneva sparkled in the afternoon sun. Humans walked the streets alongside visitors from a dozen different worlds. A Velari family was playing in the park across from her building. A group of Naxian traders were haggling with human merchants in the market square. This was what they were fighting to protect. This was what Thorne wanted to destroy. Her door chimed. "Come in," she said. Ambassador Rilka entered, followed by representatives from 5 other coalition species. They arranged themselves in chairs around Kira's desk. "You have seen Thorne's message," Rilka said. "It was not a question." "I have. He is not going to give up." "No," agreed Vortek, the Naxian representative. He was a tall, thin being with blue skin and large black eyes. "Our intelligence reports suggest the Kreth are preparing for a major offensive. They are gathering their entire fleet." "They cannot attack us directly," said Prilla, the Tauran ambassador. She was small and round, with scales that shimmered green and gold. "We have shown that our combined forces are stronger than theirs." "They do not need to attack us directly," Kira said. "They will try to divide us, turn us against each other, make us suspicious of our allies." "How would they do that?" asked Rilke. "The same way empires have always done it. Lies, manipulation, secret deals. They will offer some of us advantages if we betray the others. They will spread rumors that make us doubt each other." The room fell silent. The representatives looked at each other with uncertain eyes. "Already it begins," Vortex said quietly. "I received a communication yesterday. Anonymous, untraceable. It claimed that the Velari are secretly negotiating with the Kreth, that they plan to surrender in exchange for their safety." Rilka's fur bristled. "That is a lie. The Velari would never betray our friends." "I know that," Vortex said, "but others might believe it. That is the danger." Kira nodded. "This is exactly what they want, to make us suspicious of each other, to weaken the bonds that hold us together." "Then what do we do?" Prilla asked. "How do we fight an enemy that attacks our trust?" Kira thought for a long moment. Then she stood up and walked to the window. "We do not fight it," she said. "We make it impossible." "I do not understand," said Rilka. Kira turned back to face them. "The Kreth want to divide us because they do not understand us. They think our alliance is based on convenience, on self-interest. They believe that if they offer a better deal, we will abandon each other." "But that is not true," Prilla said. "No, it is not. Our alliance is based on something deeper, on friendship, on trust, on the knowledge that we are stronger together than apart. The Kreth cannot understand that because they have never experienced it." "So what do you propose?" Vortek asked. "I propose we show them. I propose we make our bonds so visible, so strong, that no lie could ever break them." Kira smiled. "I propose we hold a festival." The representatives looked confused. "A festival," Rilka repeated. "Yes, a celebration of our friendship. We will invite every species in the coalition to send representatives. We will share our food, our music, our stories. We will show the galaxy what we have built together." "And we will invite the Kreth to watch," Vortex said slowly. Understanding was dawning in his eyes. "Exactly. Let them see what they are fighting against. Let them see that our strength does not come from ships or weapons. It comes from our connection to each other." "They will see it as a sign of weakness," Prilla warned. "They will think we are foolish to celebrate when they are preparing for war." Let them think that, Kira said. While they are preparing to destroy us, we will be getting to know each other better, learning each other's languages, understanding each other's customs, building the kind of trust that cannot be broken by lies. Rilka stood up. Her golden eyes were bright with emotion. I remember when humanity first came to my world, she said. We were dying, we had lost all hope, and then your ships appeared in our sky. You could have taken our planet easily. We had nothing to fight with, but instead of conquering us, you helped us. You worked beside us to save our crops. You treated our sick children. You asked for nothing in return. She walked to stand beside Kira at the window. That day I learned something important. I learned that there is another way to be strong, not through fear but through kindness, not through taking but through giving. The Kreth will never understand that, but we do. One by one, the other representatives stood. The Naxian will participate in your festival, Vortex said. As will the Tauren, added Prilla. The others voiced their agreement. Kira felt tears forming in her eyes, but she did not wipe them away. Thank you, she said. Thank you all. Together, we will show the galaxy what is possible when people choose friendship over fear. As the representatives left her office, Kira turned back to the window. Somewhere out there, the Kreth were building their weapons and plotting their attack. But here, in the city below her, humans and aliens were sharing meals, playing together, building a future based on trust and understanding. She knew which side would win in the end. The Festival of Unity was held on New Geneva, and it was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Ships arrived from every corner of Coalition space, carrying representatives from over 50 different species. The city was transformed with decorations from dozens of worlds, creating a tapestry of colors that seemed to glow under the afternoon sun. General Thorn watched from the bridge of his warship, hidden in the shadow of a distant moon. His officers had brought him recordings of the festival, and he watched them with growing confusion. "What are they doing?" he muttered. On the screen, a group of human children was learning a traditional Velari dance. Nearby, Naxian traders were teaching Tauren merchants how to play a human card game. Everywhere he looked, members of different species were laughing together, sharing food, exchanging gifts. "They are celebrating, General," said his aide, Commander Krex. "It appears to be some kind of party." "I can see that," Thorn snapped. "But why? We are preparing to crush them. They should be building weapons, not dancing." "Perhaps they do not believe we will attack, sir." Thorn shook his head. "No, the human ambassador is too clever for that. She knows we are coming. This must be some kind of trick." He watched the recordings for hours, searching for signs of hidden weapons, secret defensive systems, anything that would explain why the Coalition seemed so unconcerned about the coming war. He found nothing. "General," Krex said carefully, "there is something else you should see." He changed the display to show a different part of the festival. Ambassador Kira Chen was standing on a stage, surrounded by representatives from every Coalition species. She was giving a speech. "And so we gather here today not as separate species but as one family," she was saying. "We are different in so many ways. We come from different worlds. We have different bodies, different customs, different beliefs. But we share something more important than any of those differences. We share a dream." "What dream is that?" called someone from the crowd. "The dream of a galaxy where no one has to live in fear, where strength is not measured by how many you can destroy, but by how many you can help, where every child, no matter what world they were born on, can look up at the stars and see not threats but possibilities." The crowd cheered. Thorn watched as species that had been enemies for centuries embraced each other. He saw warriors from proud military traditions bowing to peaceful farmers. He saw ancient rivalries being set aside as representatives promised to visit each other's worlds. "This is madness," he said. "They are weakening themselves, making themselves vulnerable." "Perhaps, General," Krex said, "or perhaps they are becoming stronger." Thorn turned on his aide. What did you say? Krex flinched but did not back down. General, I have been studying the Coalition's military capabilities. When we attacked Proxima 7, they assembled their combined fleet in less than 4 hours. 4 hours, sir. Our intelligence suggested it would take them at least a day. They got lucky. No, General. They trust each other. They have practiced working together. When Ambassador Rilka called for help, every species in the Coalition responded immediately because they knew the Velari would do the same for them. Thorn was silent for a long moment. On the screen, the festival continued. He watched a human doctor treating a sick Naxian child. He watched a Velari engineer helping a Tauran fix a broken piece of equipment. He watched species that had nothing in common except their connection to humanity working together as if they had known each other all their lives. The High Command will not accept this, he said finally. They expect me to attack, to crush the Coalition before it grows any stronger. And if we attack, General, what then? Thorn did not answer. He knew what would happen. The Coalition would fight. Not because they were ordered to, but because they wanted to protect each other. And that kind of motivation was far more dangerous than any weapon. There is a message coming in, General, reported his communications officer. It is from Ambassador Chen. Thorn's eyes narrowed. How does she know we are here? I do not know, sir. Should I put it through? Thorn hesitated, then nodded. Kira Chen's face appeared on the view screen. She was still at the festival, with music and laughter in the background. General Thorn, she said, I thought you might be watching. What do you want, Ambassador? To invite you to the festival. She smiled at his surprised expression. You and any Kreth who wish to come, not as enemies but as guests. Is this a joke? No, General. It is an offer. You have spent your life believing that the only way to be strong is to be feared. I am offering you a chance to see another way. And why would I accept such an offer? Because somewhere deep inside, you know that something is wrong with the Kreth way. You have conquered hundreds of worlds, but you have no friends. You have an empire of slaves who hate you. You sleep with guards at your door because you cannot trust anyone. Thorn said nothing, but his jaw tightened. Come to the festival, General. Taste what freedom feels like. Then make your choice about whether to attack us. The screen went dark. Thorn stood in silence, his officers watching him uncertainly. General, Krex said, what should we do? Thorn closed his eyes. He thought about his home world, about the endless wars that had shaped his people, about the hatred that burned in the hearts of every conquered species they ruled. He thought about Ambassador Chen's words and the strange feeling they had stirred inside him. Prepare a shuttle, he said. Sir, I am going to the festival. When General Thorn's shuttle landed in New Geneva, the crowd fell silent. Word had spread that the Kreth commander was coming, and many had gathered to see what would happen. Some were afraid, others were angry, all were curious. Thorn descended the ramp alone. He had left his weapons on the ship, and he wore no armor. For the first time in his life, he was truly vulnerable. Ambassador Kira Chen was waiting for him. She looked small and fragile compared to his massive form, but she showed no fear. General Thorn, she said, welcome to the Festival of Unity. I did not come to celebrate, Ambassador. I came to understand. Then let me show you what you are fighting against. She led him through the festival grounds. At first, the crowd parted before them in fear. But Kira walked calmly, greeting friends from every species, introducing Thorn as her guest. Slowly, the tension began to ease. This is the food district, she explained. Every species has brought their traditional dishes to share. The Velari brought their famous star fruit. The Naxians make a bread that melts in your mouth. And over there, the Taurans are serving a soup that has been in their culture for 10,000 years. Why do they share? Thorn asked. These recipes are valuable. In the Kreth Empire, knowledge is hoarded, not given away. Because sharing makes both parties richer. When the Velari taught us how to grow their star fruit, we taught them how to improve their irrigation systems. Now both species have better food and better farms. They walked further. Thorn watched a group of children from different species playing a game together. They were laughing, chasing each other, completely unaware of the historical tensions between their peoples. In the Kreth Empire, he said slowly, children are taught to fear outsiders. They learn that anyone who is different is a potential enemy. And what do these children learn? They learn that anyone who is different is a potential friend. Thorn was quiet for a moment. It is a dangerous lesson. Only if you believe that friends are dangerous. They came to a large pavilion where representatives from the coalition species were gathered around a table. Ambassador Rilka was there, along with Vortek, Prilla, and many others Thorn did not recognize. General Thorn, Rilka said. Her voice was cool but not hostile. I did not expect to see you here. Neither did I, Ambassador. He has come to understand us, Kira said. I think we should help him. The coalition representatives looked at each other uncertainly. This was the general who had threatened their worlds, who had tried to destroy their alliance. But Kira had asked them to help him, and so they did. For hours, Thorn listened as they told their stories. He heard how humanity had saved the Velari from extinction. He learned how the Naxians had been helped to rebuild after a terrible war. He discovered how the Taurans had been accepted into the coalition, even though their society was very different from the others. You speak of acceptance, he said, but the Kreth have done terrible things. We have conquered and enslaved. We have destroyed entire civilizations. How could anyone accept us? Accepting someone does not mean approving of everything they have done, Kira said. It means believing they can change. It means giving them a chance to be better. And if they do not change, then we keep trying. We do not give up on people. Thorn sat in silence, processing everything he had heard. Around him, the festival continued. Music from a dozen worlds filled the air. The smell of exotic foods drifted by. Everywhere he looked, he saw people from different species treating each other with kindness and respect. I do not know if I can convince the Kreth High Command to change, he said finally. They have believed in conquest for 3,000 years. You do not need to convince everyone, Kira said. You only need to convince yourself. Then you convince one other person. Then they convince another. Change happens slowly, but it does happen. And if the High Command orders me to attack, then you will have to make a choice. But whatever you choose, know that our door will always be open. If any Kreth wants to leave the old way behind and join us, they will be welcome. Thorn stood up. He looked around the pavilion at the representatives who had shared their stories with him. Some of them still looked at him with suspicion, but others met his gaze with something that might have been hope. I need time to think, he said, but I want you to know something, Ambassador Chen. Whatever happens next today changed me. I came here expecting to see weakness. Instead, I saw strength, a kind of strength I did not know existed. That is all I wanted, Kira said, for you to see that there is another way. Thorn walked back to his shuttle alone. As he passed through the festival, something strange happened. People who had feared him before now nodded at him respectfully. A Velari child waved at him. A human vendor offered him a piece of fruit. He did not know what would happen when he returned to the Kreth Empire. He did not know if the High Command would accept his report or dismiss it as the ravings of a traitor. But he knew one thing for certain. The universe would never look the same to him again. 1 year later, the Kreth Empire announced a ceasefire with the coalition of free species. It was not peace, not yet, but it was a beginning. 5 years later, the first Kreth refugees arrived on coalition worlds. They were soldiers who had grown tired of endless war, families who wanted a better life for their children, scientists who wanted to learn instead of conquer. 10 years later, the Kreth Empire was no more. It had not been conquered or destroyed. It had simply changed. The species that had once been slaves were now partners. The warriors who had once fought for domination now fought to protect their friends. Ambassador Kira Chen, now elderly but still active, watched the news of the transformation from her home in New Geneva. Ambassador Rilkas sat beside her, both of them drinking coffee as the sun set over the city. "You did it," Rilkas said. "You changed the galaxy." Kira shook her head. "We did it, all of us together. That was always the point." "Do you think it will last?" "Nothing lasts forever. But we have shown the galaxy that there is another way, that empires do not need to be built on fear and conquest, that the strongest bonds are forged through friendship, not force." Rilkas smiled. "The universe has many empires," she said, "but only humanity builds them through friendship." Kira laughed. "That sounds like something for the history books." "Perhaps it will be." Rilkas raised her coffee cup. "To humanity, and to the strange, wonderful way they taught the rest of us to live." Kira clinked her cup against her friends. "To friends," she said, "may we always have them." Below them, the city sparkled with lights from 100 different worlds. Somewhere, children were playing games their grandparents would not have understood. Somewhere, former enemies were sharing meals and stories. Somewhere, the seeds that humanity had planted were growing into something beautiful. The universe had not become perfect. There were still problems, still conflicts, still challenges to face. But there was also hope. There was friendship. There was the knowledge that no matter how dark things became, no one would have to face them alone. That was humanity's gift to the galaxy. Not technology, not weapons, not the ability to conquer. Simply the idea that together, everyone was stronger. That kindness was not weakness. That the best way to defeat an enemy was to turn them into a friend. It was an idea that had changed everything. And it had all started with a simple truth that humans had learned long ago but had taken centuries to share with others. In a universe full of darkness, the smallest light can illuminate the way forward. And when many lights shine together, there is nothing they cannot accomplish.